It is amazing to see the interest for this webinar. We have participants from actually about 20 countries around the world, everything from New Zealand to Peru to Mauritius to Sweden to Hong Kong. My name is Christian Bergenstråle, and I'm the General Manager for the Swedish Chamber of Commerce here in Hong Kong. And I'm very happy to have 4 amazing speakers on the panel today. Linda Bradley from Business Sweden, Dov Brachtfeld from Treadler, Lynn Frissinger from Swedish Stockings, and last but not least, Catherine Chan from HKRITA. Before we get started, I would like to inform everyone that we are recording this session. If you want to see it again, if you want to spread it to your network, that would be super fine if you want to do that. To get to know our panelists, so you know a little bit about the background, I would like to give them, let's say, 1 minute to introduce themselves, who they are, what they do, and slightly about the background. That is kind of a challenge with 1 minute, but what do you say, Linda? Should we start with you?
Sure, thank you, Christian, and good morning, good afternoon, maybe a good evening, I don't know, to all of you joining. So I'm the Trade Commissioner for Sweden in Hong Kong. And I work here, but I also have a responsibility for fashion lifestyle segment in APAC, so rather big portion of the market. And it's, I mean, what does it mean to be a trade commissioner? It means a lot of things, but it also means doing things like this and promoting and helping brands, retailers, and investors to expand and find a sustainable way of doing business into to this region. And I've been working for the past 10 years within fashion lifestyle, and it's one of the key elements of Swedish industry, and we will hear more about that from Treadler, of course. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Linda. I'm not sure that was exactly 1 minute, but it's okay. Dov.
Yes, hi.
Introduction.
Great to be here with everyone. My name is Dov Brachtfeld. I'm the Global Sustainability Manager at Treadler. Treadler is a new B2B initiative by the H&M Group, where we offer access to the group's supply chain to other brands so that they can benefit from the group's 70+ years of experience, the long-term partnerships, and a robust sustainability agenda. I've been working in different sustainability roles within the company for, yikes, a decade. And I'm excited to be able to bring the learnings and experiences that we have done to other brands across the industry.
Great. Yeah, you are definitely doing an exciting journey at Treadler. Lynn, who are you?
I'm Lynn. I'm the founder and the CEO of Swedish Stockings, and we are the first sustainable hosiery brand worldwide. And basically what we do at Swedish Stockings is that we produce all our products, tights and socks, from recycled materials and natural fibers through a sustainable and ethical, environmentally friendly production process. We are 7 years old now, and our mission has been from the very start to change and influence this industry to become more sustainable.
Great, thank you. And Catherine.
Hi, nice to meet you all. Thank you for the invitation. It's our honor to be able to participate in this webinar. I'm Catherine Chan. I'm the Director of Business Development for HKRITA, the Hong Kong Research Institutes for Textile and Apparel. We were established in 2006, and we have been focusing on research and developments for textiles and apparel and the whole industries. We work closely with different stakeholders in the supply chain, from brands to spinners, dyeing and finishing facilities, and weaving and of course garment manufacturing. For the past decades or so, our research focus has been on greatly sustainability, social benefits, as well as industry advantage. So there are some technologies that we developed that help to support the recycle processes and also advancement in different manufacturing processes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to share some of our work to all of you later on.
Thank you, Catherine. As you hear, we have 4 panelists with different background, and they can give different perspectives on the questions that I have prepared here. So let's start with the $1 million question that's on everyone's mind in the fashion industry and beyond. How can we decouple climate impact from enjoying fashion in a responsible way? Well, that has a positive impact on people and planet. It's a big question. So Lynn, what do you say about this?
Well, to start with, I would like to say that I don't think that we can turn back the clock. I don't think that we will stop consume. I don't think that we will stop flying, stop traveling. I just think that we need to do it better, and we need to do it much better, and we need to do it better now. We might need help by regulations, for sure, in order to speed up the process. But from our perspective, and now I'm talking about the fashion industry and particular tights industry, for us, the biggest question is to fully how we can close the loop in the best positive way. And then it's from the material that we source to the production process, of course, to the packaging, to the transport. But maybe most important for us at this stage is how we take care of the products at the end of life. How do we take care of the recycling process? How do we find solutions for that? Because from what I can see is that that's our biggest issue at the moment. It's all the waste that we create. Yeah, we have been working on different solutions. I think we will talk about them later on. But that's my standpoint. I'm sure that we will continue to live. We just need to make it better. And I'm also sure that the way forward now is partnership. Partnership will become the new type of leadership in order to make this solution come to us faster.
Okay. Catherine, do you agree with what Lynn is saying, or do you have?
Absolutely. I cannot agree more. From our perspective, actually, there a lot can be done from the inputs, material, the selection of what raw materials, and then to control a better control of the manufacturing processes, and also making sure that all the saved and environmental friendly chemicals are used. That we have to also can extend not only from the production and the material perspective, but also how to manage the supply chain, how to do inventory control, and even in retail management, like how to interact with consumer from the retailer's point of view. I think a lot of education has to be done at the point of sales to educate the consumers what needs to be done. As Lynn said, that we have to do the right things now. I think transparency it's very important. Also, collaboration. I also had it in mind that we cannot survive, or one person to do and the whole value chain can do just so little. I think we need to work very closely hand in hand, because all processes are closely linked. And from the recycling perspective, we can from HKRITA, we can think of a lot of the technologies in helping this recycle of the textile. But then the problem comes into whether are we sure that what type of material are these materials safe? Are these clean? Then it all depends on all these issues in order to identify the correct solution. So I think,
Yeah, but it's interesting that you as well, you're talking about the partnerships there. Dub, from your perspective, what do you say about this?
Well, I certainly agree with everything that was just said, for sure. And I'd say there are concrete steps that you can take, here and now to minimize your carbon footprint. You can choose progressive suppliers that use renewable energy. By choosing more sustainable materials, you can take some big leaps, very often, really from one season to the next, to achieve more sustainable sourcing. And also communicating transparently about your progress allows customers to show their growing preference for more sustainable products. I mean, I do agree, and I would say that brands can be exploring new ways to enjoy fashion in a responsible way together with their customers. I do agree that will continue, but some experimentation on how it's done by communicating in a transparent way with trusted data, as well as, yes, looking at new business models to close the loop, for sure.
You talk a little bit about communication, and my background is actually not from the fashion industry, but it's from the communication side. And I do see the challenges with communication. When you talk about communication, how do you have any example on communication in a good way with the customers?
Well, a key is for sure, as I said, using trusted data to look at performance in for us, we're focused on supply chain, but really the more we can shine a light on it through the whole value chain, and bringing that to engage customers is going to make a difference.
Okay. Connected to the previous question, Catherine, I was asking you, do you think innovation will solve the industry's sustainability challenges, or is it minimizing consumption that is the best option?
Well, I think minimizing consumption, it's the easiest way that we can all adopt as individual to do it immediately. But then of course it's not the only way. I think from the industry's stakeholders' perspective, we also have to start to apply different solutions from the supply perspective to make sure that we supply material that is recyclable, repurposed, or clean. Renewable materials use. So I think from different levels, whether it's design brands or manufacturers or consumers, we all can do a bit, in supporting the sustainability topics. And I think it's very difficult. I mean, we all enjoy new things, seeing new nice clothing on ourselves, on others. It's really difficult to control. Like, okay, everyone stop buying from now on for 2 years and just wear whatever you have in your wardrobe. I don't think it's feasible. No. But then of course it would be good at least to kind of think more before you spend time shopping for another blouse. Maybe perhaps I have something very similar, but I think this is what I was referring to, some education from the retailer's point of view, but then also in the industry side, recycling has been a topic that's been discussed for decades, right? So for HKRITA, we have been working on this subjects, and also some projects with HKRITA Foundation to establish different solutions. It's not one solution to solve all the issues, but then because there's so much varieties of materials that are already in the market and will be supplying into market. So we start from the biggest one. Yeah. So we worked on a technology to help separating the blended fiber, which is actually a major or most popular blends in textile products, which is cotton polyester mix. We created this technology to separate the cotton from the polyester. The system dissolves in a way the cotton into cellulosic powder, which then can be used for different applications. And then the polyester fiber remained, and then it could be recycled, respun into yarns for weaving and dyeing and textile making. The cotton cellulosic powder, which is the outcome of this green machine system, it could be used to further process to be made into a super absorbent polymer, which we are investigating the use in agriculture use, which helps the irrigation. Yeah, because it absorbs a lot of, like 7 times of the water content, and then it slowly releases the moisture into the soil, which helps to irrigate the plant. So this is one application, and also it can be used as a durable water repellent finish on cellulosic textile fabric, which is PFC free. And then also it could be used as a raw material in a composite fiber. So these are the recycling possibility from this process. We also developed different.
Can I ask, is this the initiative that you show on the mills here in Hong Kong?
The mills, it's G2G, garment to garment, which is just a dry processing. It recycles an old garment. Let's say you have an old sweater from for a long time that it looks too old to be worn, and then it could be sent to the G2G facility and at the mills to remake it into a new sweater. So this is another recycle possibility at retail. You can actually participate, as a consumer during this whole process.
Yeah, and I can say from an outside perspective that it's extremely inspiring to see that process and understand it. So anyone who's in Hong Kong, I can recommend a visit to have a look at it. Lynn, if we talk from a brand perspective, what do you at Swedish Stockings think about applying new innovations to solve the sustainability challenges? How much do you work with innovation along the way?
We actually started 2 years ago. We started a concept called Innovations by Swedish Stockings, just in order to push ourselves, to push the boundaries within the complete industry, to make sure that we are always in the forefront when it comes to innovations. Even though we are a small company, we still believe that we can make a change and we can influence other people and especially other brands to do so. And under this umbrella, Innovations by Swedish Stockings, we have we've been first to produce tides from fishnets, from PET bottles, even from flowers. But as I mentioned before, the biggest issue for us has been that we aren't able to recycle old tides into new tides due to this problem with separating nylon from the elastan. Basically what we realized after a while was that all our customers, they came back to us and asked us, like, well, can we send back our tights to you when they eventually rip, because sooner or later they will. And we just felt that we haven't closed the complete loop, because we haven't really. We just come halfway. So we started our recycling program just in order to make sure that the tights wouldn't end up on landfill, because tights is a petroleum product and they shouldn't end up there. So we just started this recycling program, and we got so many tights because we accepted tights from any brand from all over the world. So after a while, we just realized that this is not going to work. We have to do something with the tights. We were thinking back and forth. And sorry.
So what was the solution?
Yeah, now we produce tables out of the old tights. That's not the final solution. That's not the best solution. I mean, our final solution would be to produce new tights, but from the old ones. But this is the best solution now, and I think that's very important standpoint from us. I mean, we are small, so maybe we can get away with not being perfect all the time, but to actually do something while we are waiting, this is the best solution we can do, and the best solution we get. And we also see that this is so appreciated from the customers' standpoint. And they also realize the issue with the tights when we explain it this way. Yeah,
and the table idea, that actually came from that innovation group that you have within the company.
Yes, or that was actually me and my dad that come up with the idea. So the group is not very big. Okay, but yes, we are working on. Yeah. Right. And now we're looking through. I mean, now we're really focusing on what could be the next thing that we could produce out of the old tights, because we, as I mentioned, we accept tights from all brands all over the world, so we get a lot of tights in.
Okay. Well, that's an exciting journey.
Yes.
If we continue talking about a brand, as a brand, you're dependent on finding the right partners in different sourcing and production markets. How can you identify the right strategic suppliers and drive change on a local and actually global as well level if you are not established in the market? Linda, at Business Sweden, you are in touch with several apparel brands wanting to progress within sustainability. What would you see as their main challenges today? Long question, but I hope you.
Yeah, long question. No, but I think coming back maybe to the partnership is that, I mean, what we do here and we've been doing for the past 40 years as a trade office, we of course, I mean, really our bread and butter business is trying to identify right partners to Swedish companies. And the right partners, I mean, how do I go about doing that? It's quite a tricky task in a way. And usually we apply a set of criteria. And just to prepare for this seminar, I went back and looked at some projects that we've done past 20 years ago, just for the fun of seeing what criteria did we apply then. And it was actually amazing to see that the criteria we have today did not match at all. So you would say that it would be fundamental, but it's not fundamental. So I think this sustainability shift is really, it has happened within those 20 years. Because I cannot say any apparel company that we have contact with today that don't put sustainability as one of the criteria when they evaluate partners, because it's a must. But definitely they did not do that 20 years ago. So I mean, that's very positive to see that there is a main criteria that has been added over those 20 years. Then some criteria are in there. Of course, you look at the skill set of your potential partner. What competence do they have? You look at their financial strength would of course be relevant, and I think communication and the way we develop together with a partner is actually through communication. So if the communication is really bad between a brand or a retailer and their local production partner, ultimately that is hindering the development. So I think that aspect is maybe even more focused now. And then of course just finding the interest level that the partner is aligned with the brand, that we feel that the partner is actually wanting the same thing, wanting to go in the same direction. So I think this whole terminology of, you know, customer, supplier, it's shifting. It's really more partners and doing something together. And also that's, if I may add, is driven by the fact that many of the brands want to have a shorter product development cycle. So they don't want to produce massive stock. I mean, they don't want to have overstock anymore. That's not sustainable. So the only way to guarantee that you don't have overstock is to do more smaller series but also to be able to produce, maybe try something out, see how that goes, and if that goes well, after you put it on the market, then you produce more. So that kind of batches has been decreasing. So I think the evaluation is shifting towards much more looking at sustainability, looking at communication, and the actual interest to develop together. So that's positive.
I have to say, I love that you bring up communication again, because it is when we kind of merge the different areas that I think that we can be really successful and that we work together, because there we come back to the partnerships again. Dov, what would you say? What would you say are the main challenges?
Well, I think that Linda is absolutely right about the partnership. I mean, you said suppliers and she said partners, and I think that is 100% correct. And Lynn saying that partnership is the new leadership. I fully agree. I think that some of the and to reach that level, we believe that sort of local presence over time, you know, the long-term relationships is really vital to build that trust that comes into a partnership, which in turn we see, you know, enables real change. It's hard to make a difference if you're quickly in and out of, well, any relationship, but you know, in and out of a supplier relationship. So I mean, in terms of local presence, I mean, H&M Group has 150 plus sustainability experts in our different production markets, securing standards, supporting and training suppliers on different sustainability issues and within different improvement programs. And this is how they're sort of driving the group's sustainability agenda on the ground, but in partnership, and in partnership together with you know, NGOs and local industry experts as well. And then in terms of that time and trust factor and communication factor, you know, as a Treadler client, you're also benefiting from the group's long-term relationships as well, with suppliers who already have a demonstrated commitment to sustainability performance. But I guess I'd also say that, you know, working with the right partners really does mean being a fair partner yourself. And I guess as also as Linda alluded to, like the more that we can move from what is sometimes a very you know, almost strictly transactional model to a more partnership approach, the better we can really move the needle on sustainability throughout the supply chain. It simply works better with a partnership approach.
Yeah, partnership is definitely something that it seems like you all agree about, and the challenge is probably only to find the right partners along the way. But building on what you said so far, looking at how brands are expanding today and looking to both, they want to sell and produce in Asia. Linda, can international market expansion goals go along with the sustainability and the circularity driving brand? Is that possible?
Yeah, I wish to say yes, of course, but it's, I mean, that's on the agenda of many management teams right now, is that they have two goals basically that they have to fulfill. They have to continue expanding. That's their owner's will, but at the same time they have to cut down on CO2 emissions. So they have to sort of reduce their footprint. And it's not really that easy to say, okay, that's the way to do it. But what we have discovered here that I think one thing that is really crucial and that is very seldom brought up is sustainability also in perspective of the sales markets. Because many of the brands, they separate and say that, okay, we talk about sustainability in terms of the way we produce our goods or the way we recycle them. but they don't really connect. Okay, where do we sell our goods? You know, how do we connect to the sales market? And I think it's pretty unwise, for example, if you're a brand that are looking to really tap into the Chinese market today, that you at the same time withdraw your production. It's not advisable. So actually, it's trying to connect to see, okay, where are we selling, and where are we producing? So can we? And that's one way also to lower, for example, the transportational footprint, and also adding and building more labor and workplaces, and opening up for a sort of an ecosystem development of expansion, rather than just selling your goods or shipping your goods from overseas. And I mean, if we look back again in history, there are consumer brands that have been doing this for a long time. They've been licensing, they've been working with partners, and then for many years this was the expansion model, and then it came back to that the variation, there was a quality variation, so, and the brands were not that keen on licensing. But again, now the world maybe has too much of the same. So now maybe we are looking, as a consumer, we are looking for something that is more unique, and it would be pretty cool. I mean, I'm just imagining walking into a Zara or H&M or Uniqlo, where I would find like a unique assortment in each market, even the same brand. I mean, just imagine that. It would be pretty cool. Yeah.
Lynn, what does sustainable sourcing mean to you at Swedish Stockings, and what barriers have you had to overcome throughout your very exciting journey so far?
Well, for us, it's all about transparency, of course. So when we start working with factories, we always visit them. We always make sure that we check everything in order what we can check. But in the end, we need to rely on different certificates, because we don't have the knowledge in-house to make sure that everything is what it says it is. That's complicated, because the certificates are expensive. So a lot of factories, they don't afford them, even if they actually live up to the standards that are required. And this makes the amount of factories that we can work with are very small, because we are so well, this is so important for us that they actually live up to everything. And we at this stage, it's actually we only work with factories in a small part of Italy, and at this moment it's only 2 factories. So this is it's difficult, and I think it is a huge problem for smaller brands like us. And here is really something that we need help to be able to grow, and also be able to start producing in other countries, depending on where we are selling. Of course, because that will be a big benefit for us when we are expanding more.
Which is your plan now? You are in an expansion mode, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you agree about these challenges? Is this something that you hear from others? And how do you see Treadler's role in supporting brands achieving the?
Yes, it is, and I mean that is exactly the role that we'd like to play. You know, our end-to-end services enable our clients to excel in every part of the value chain, from product development, leveraging our knowledgeable teams and circularity approach, materials access for all needs, including sustainable material options, production in factories that are implementing leading practices in the industry. It's production such that real performance and impact data are captured and made digestible, allowing a brand to make the active choices that matter and that make the difference, you know, when in order to to reach their sustainability goals, and perhaps dare to set even more ambitious sustainability goals. Really, our aim by offering access to H&M Group's supply chain and offering our experience and the possibilities to measure sustainability progress to other brands is precisely to help others kind of leapfrog past these challenges that we've been mentioning, to achieve a more sustainable sourcing capability and enabling them really to have a more sustainable assortment and frankly a more attractive customer offer, simply.
Okay. Talking about a little bit of sustainable materials, Catherine, I was thinking the use of sustainable materials, and especially textile-to-textile recycling, as you talked about it before, that is an exciting and urgent area of the innovation process. How would you say we can scale the use of sustainable materials and close the loop that you talked about on textile fibers?
Well, scaling, it's also something that we all have, like from our research point of view, we start from feasibility studies, from lab scale to a pilot to industrial scale. It's always a long process. Yeah, I mean, especially for new innovations and especially handling like such big variety of materials to be recycled. I mentioned that a certain solution can be applied for certain materials, right? So this has been, we need to invest a lot of time and expertise working with the partners in the value chain. And this is something that we do on like the green machine or the two systems, as we mentioned. It took us about a year, between 1 to 2 years time, in order to come up with a industrial scale solution. We're still actually working on different solutions in the industrial scale, which bring us back to the topic of partnership. From the research institute, what we have, the resources are scientists, researchers, and labs. And we need to work with someone who is also as committed in the industrial scale area, allow this to be tested in a mass production scale. So commitment and also transparency, because sometimes it's not easy to, I mean, especially in earlier days, factories owner, they do not welcome external parties to visit their production sites, because there are a lot of confidentiality elements in the factories. But then with the support of coming into the sustainability agreements, then it's been opening up. Yeah, and I think we see a lot of commitments from the industry as well, that they are also welcoming these kind of studies to be applied, and also welcome to work with different partners in the value chain. So yeah, it requires a lot of trust and time. Yeah.
Thank you. Linda, in your work in Business Sweden, you I assume you meet a lot of companies who are looking to diversify their supplier network and not to be too dependent on one market for sourcing. And I can imagine this is especially difficult in the time we have been now with the pandemics, and whole markets has been closed for periods of time. How do you actually advise companies in situations like this?
I think the question first we try to ask is, why do you want to diversify? Because again, coming back to the partnership thing, is there a way to develop the relationships you have? It's usually a faster way. Then on the other hand, we have seen a diversification trend, if I may say so, that some apparel retailers, brands have wanting to move away a bit from the Chinese market and look at other Asian markets to And I think it's the reason behind that is actually driven that their customers are asking for a larger portion of their the products or the brands to not just produce in China. Right or wrong, this is just what we see. And then of course we have to give them options and see, okay, where should you take your product? And then it's a matter of looking at the purchase attractiveness in that alternative market and see, you know, can we identify attractive materials there that have the same quality, and what are the macro trends in that market also in terms of laboring cost and in terms of regulations, etc. So then it's more of a classic approach. But I think what we have at least started to apply more is really drilling down to, you know, is it really the shift you want to make or need to make, or is there other ways around it?
Okay. Dav, is this something that you at Treadler see as well? How do you respond to the company's request on a diversified supplier network in relation to the sustainability question?
Well, sure. I mean, in our case, we're leveraging the assets of H&M Group, offering access to a global supplier network with diversified production markets to suit different needs. So, you know, in many ways, it's built in. The job is a little bit is done for you as a Treadler client. The supplier network is, you know, is completely transparent on the group website, and as mentioned, we're also tracking the sustainability performance for that network year on year. So.
When you say you track the sustainability performance, can you just explain that a little bit?
Well, for example, we've rolled out the Sustainable Apparel Coalition's HIG index assessment to all of our tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers all the way back. Environment and social, as well as other performance data that we're collecting directly from suppliers, also third party verified, as just an example of sort of the data and transparency level that we're using to cover that global supply chain.
Okay. Not coming from the fashion industry myself, but I understand that some global fashion platforms like Zalando, that they are increasingly listing brands as sustainable choice, and that it's consumers that are actually driving this change. Do you see within the near future that there is no other way than to be or to go green? I would like to hear, you know, your different, view on this. What do you say about this, Lynn? Do you think it's necessary? You have chosen this from the start, but if you look in a bigger perspective.
Well, I think so, but what I'm afraid of is that it will take too long time. Because I mean, the majority of the consumers, they are much more, of course, interested in sustainability today. But in the end, money talks. So we need to have a sustainable solution that is also economically okay for everyone to actually be able to pay for the products that they want to buy. So therefore, I think in order to speed up this, I think that we will need regulations, actually. So the companies that don't work this way today need to do it now. And the consumers, they will...
Sorry, are there any specific regulations that you're thinking about that you think would speed it up faster?
I mean, I think it's very individual depending on what type of products you are looking at. For us, it's more about the recycling, how we take care of the product afterwards, and also only working recycled materials, for example. But I think there need to come regulations, because we can see we are trying now to reach out to our so-called competitors in order to start working together with them and see how can we actually make the change go faster together. But still, as long as there is nothing that really forces us to do this now, I think that money will talk.
Okay. Linda, what do you say? Do you think that there is another way than to go green?
Yeah, I mute myself. No, but I feel now when we speak, for example, to distributors or key retailers who want to bring in a new brand or new Swedish brand to their portfolio, that they are increasingly, asking, how sustainable is this brand? Where is it being made? Is it produced? A very naive distributor even thinks that a Swedish brand is produced in Sweden. It's kind of funny. And I told them, no, we actually stopped doing that a long time ago. But I mean, it's the way that if you're a European brand, I think it makes sense that there is a European side of all aspects of your brand. So I think that started longer ago than just the sustainability thing. But now I feel that if you want to do business with the bigger buyers, they will ask for this aspect. They will ask for it. So, I mean, if you're relying on, again, there's partners in that dimension also. If you go on your own online channel, a pure online market strategy, I don't know, then it's the consumer ultimately who is judging you. Will the consumer accept a brand today that is not green? Yeah, very trendy one.
That's actually quite an interesting question that we could probably talk about for an hour as well. The consumer's responsibility in the whole process. But unfortunately, we have to leave that question for next time. Dov, what do you say? Do a company need to go green?
Yes. Speaking for Treadler, we believe that, yes, investing in sustainability is not only profitable, it's vital. Having a strategic sustainability program is of vital business importance and will be a necessity for any company that wishes to be competitive. And frankly, for the planet, we know that business as usual is simply not an option for any of us anymore. So, for Treadler, cue the violins if you wish, but this isn't just about being, that sustainability being good for business. It's that we as a company want to have a positive impact on the world around us. That there are barriers or at least challenges, especially for smaller brands and in sustainable sourcing, and that's just the back end. But as you mentioned, on the front end, you have the increasing demand for from retail platforms like Zalando, from policymakers, potentially or hopefully more. And from customers as well. So we're removing complexity really by having this one-stop shop to help brands set and monitor how they can reach their sustainability goals. And we were founded to be part of accelerating this shift that is so urgently needed in the industry. And make more sustainable fashion available for everyone. That's really how we see the role that we can play and how we hope to be relevant for brands who are committed, but maybe don't know where to start or don't know how to progress.
No. Great. We have received quite a few questions from the audience already when you signed up for this event, so we see the engagement there. I would like to raise a few of those questions that come in, and I will say to everyone joining today is that you will get the email addresses for each speaker, so if you have questions that is targeted to a specific person, you will be able to send them later, because unfortunately time is running out, so we won't be able to manage all the questions. But one question that came in, are consumers willing to pay a premium for sustainable products, especially fast fashion, low value items, where the price increase is proportionally quite high? And how is the market response of customers in terms of sustainable products? Dav, do you want to continue?
Sure. I mean, the answer in short is we think so, and we see sort of a deepening engagement with sustainability among consumers as a result of the COVID-19 crisis. I'm aware of this statistic of half the consumers have stated that they plan to switch brands if another brand acts more sustainably, and I think a third said they already have. And that's kind of the key, I think. We're not really talking about the theoretical scenario where, you know, a customer is standing there looking at two products from two different brands and comparing the price. It's rather that, you know, if a brand is able to offer more sustainable products and is associated with that, and that's part of their brand, a customer will simply be more inclined to switch or at least to make their first stop over here instead of over there. I think that's really more the dynamic that we see working.
Another question that came in is like this. I would like to hear the panel's insight on the measures that the fashion industry can take to be more sustainable. What practices can make more impact aside from the general ones that the industry is currently implementing? Do we have anyone who wants to take that question?
I can
go
again.
You go again.
I can go again. I guess once again, I wanted to emphasize the supplier relations built on mutual understanding of the challenges and long-term commitments, or rather like I guess that combined with in combination with transparent sharing of data. This can really just be a lever. As I said, Treadler's working with the industry standard HIG index, and as one example. And so as Treadler, we can enable that level of transparency to other brands. But, you know, to answer your question, the point I'm trying to make is that the more we can shine that light on the supply chain, or really performance in various phases of the value chain, really through transparency and comparability, the more we're in a position to make better decisions and kind of compete for the right things that push to transform the industry, as well as it enables the customers, you know, or it enables a brand to engage with customers, so that there's that pull as well as the push. I think that's one area where, as an industry, we have a chance to use that lever.
Yeah, great. We have one question that I feel it's Catherine that should answer this one. Do we see any exciting innovation coming up?
Yeah, yes. So actually, we constantly work on different projects at the same time. Right now, we have some exciting projects in the pipeline. We have the hydroponic cotton growing, which allows extra long stable cotton to be planted anywhere in the world, because we set up a system to plant the cotton in a cargo container. So this is what we have been doing, and so far we have 2 harvests from about a dozen of the plants so far from Hong Kong in Taibo in New Territory. So it's really amazing. That actually addressed to the question about shortening the logistics, saving this carbon footprint, in the transportation arena, because it allows the cotton fiber to be just right next to the weaving factory. So this is something that is to me very breakthrough technologies. We also have been trying to address a solution to filter out or to separate this elastin fiber, which is actually has been a really big headache for the industry. So this is something that we are also working on. All kinds of different separation processes, as well as non-petroleum based raw materials. Mm-hmm. So these are in the pipeline. So stay tuned. Check out our website.
It sounds like we should have a seminar, separate innovation seminar with you, and hear about everything coming up here.
That would be nice.
I actually have received several questions, both in the chat that I see and that have been sent in before. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. I would like to say a big thank you to all our panelists, and thank you so much for everyone sending in your questions. We appreciate the engagement. It looks like it's something that we need to dig into deeper. You will get the email addresses to the speakers, so if you have anything that you wonder, please send an email. And otherwise, I would just like to say from Hong Kong, thank you so much for participating today, and hopefully we will see you in person sometime in the future. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Stay tuned.